Welcome to the NBA Lottery live stream, Slam and Jam style. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. With me is my good friend, Alex Speers. We are going to just sit with you on your couch and just be one of your buds watching the
just
NBA.
hanging out,
watching the NBA draft lottery with you. We all know that the draft lottery show is just a bunch of fluff until we get to the actual picks. One day I would love to be in the room, but it's funny because like they hold the lottery, like it's already happened. There are a select few people that already know what the order is and what
Zach Lowe, one of them, Mike Vorkunov.
Yeah, Mike Vorkunov. I'm like, I have a similar obsession like that Zach and like Mike do. I would love to be back there and just watch just the madness unfold. And like just see the emotion on the faces of these people that are having like it's so crazy because this will determine so many things. Like right now, the Utah Jazz have the best odds, and there's really nobody that can take the Jazz to the promised land right now that's on their roster. But Cooper Flagg probably could. Like this could determine if they become who they think they could be, in the next several years. So it's a hilarious night. It's a ridiculous way to decide the future of a franchise, and I love every second of it. And
we should try to get Mike on Slam and Jam this week.
You know what?
Get a behind-the-scenes look.
Because
I was thinking about this, Andrew. The show's very nice. They open the cards. It's fun.
Yeah.
But don't you think we've gotten to the point where NBA fans are knowledgeable enough where we could just do the thing? Like we can figure out that, we have this many combinations. These are the 4 numbers of balls we're looking for.
You don't have to do
I think that would
show.
Well, yeah, I want that to be the main show.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we've evolved enough. Like there's enough sickos out there who would have like their spreadsheets going. The first time you'd see the first number, like everyone would know like who's still alive. I just think that would be very fun.
Well, let us know in the chat. Is that something that you would want? Would you rather that, or do you like the spectacle? I'm actually in favor of the spectacle of all of this.
I like the spectacle when something happens, but when it all goes chalk for like the first 8 picks or whatever, then I'm like, oh my gosh, come on, give me something. Although The Athletic put out an article, like a primer, for tonight's draft lottery, and they were referencing this. Because the Sixers pick, if the Sixers fall to pick number 7, it goes to the Oklahoma City Thunder. In 3 of the last 6 lotteries, so that's since they've changed the lottery odds, there's been at least 2 teams with top 6 odds or worse jump into the top 4.
That's all you need. So
like the worst case scenario for the Sixers has happened 3 of the last 6 years.
Wow.
Which is crazy. Because it doesn't, we're Thunder fans. It doesn't really feel like we're getting a pick. I'm not. We've had moments, we've had draft lottery days where this is like the most important thing in our life.
Yeah.
And we are at a bar with people, living and dying with every single card that is announced.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
which is the best.
It is the best unless it's not. Because there's lottery parties going on throughout the country right now where people are just on pins and needles watching whatever this show is. Of them just stalling essentially until it's time for the actual draft lottery. And we've been on pins and needles, waiting, for this to happen. And I've been in a room where the lottery is happening and you're hoping for a good outcome. And then once, the Thunder pulled the 6th pick in the Cade Cunningham draft, and they had a chance to get the number 1 and number 5. Yeah. In that same draft, they could have had Cade Cunningham and whoever else, Scotty Barnes or whoever, Suggs, whoever it would have been. And, they draw 6 and it just lets all the air out of the balloon, So it's today, the wishes of a fan base will be granted. And also people are going to be absolutely miserable. If you're the Hornets, I think the Hornets are a team that needs a little bit of luck today. Like, they need it. If the Wizards fall, because you can fall, I think they can fall as far as 6 technically. Yeah. That's a really bad outcome if you're the Wizards. If you could jump up to 2, so like the teams that are most interesting to me at this point, right now, I think that like the Wizards and the Jazz are 2 teams that like flat out just all out tanked this year. and it wasn't really due to injury. Like those are teams that like desperately need something to happen today. And then you have like the weird injury teams. Like New Orleans wasn't supposed to be here. Philly wasn't supposed to be here. Even the Hornets really the Hornets aren't very good, but they had a lot of injuries this year that kind of led them to be this bottom of the barrel team. And like you won a reward for like the horrible basketball that you had to watch all season. So I think that's fascinating. And then like you have these teams that are kind of lurking. Like the Spurs, in my opinion, are just kind of lurking in the back. Like, maybe it's us. The Rockets, who have the 9th best odds, are just kind of lurking back there. They have this Phoenix pick that was never supposed to be this. It was never, ever supposed to be this. And if like that's the one that jumped up, because I believe Atlanta had the 9th best odds last year and they jumped up to number 1. So like there's just, with the new flattened lottery odds, there's hope for these teams. And then like the ultimate would be somehow Dallas, who has the 11th best odds. Is very, very unlikely. But like if a team like that jumped up, it would be like, oh my gosh.
That's the more I think about it, obviously, and I think a lot of NBA fans feel this way. Like literally any East team, just let Cooper Flagg go to an
Eastern Conference. Brooklyn,
anyone,
Toronto,
Philly. I don't
Philly.
care. But
sure,
if it's going to go to a West team, I've come around to the idea that I actually think Dallas would be my pick, because I do think it is, Andrew. It's the funniest outcome. And I actually think you can justify it from a karma perspective. I know you're saying, "Oh, Nico Harrison made this terrible trade. This would be the worst thing in the world." So I went back, Andrew.
I hate this.
First of all, I don't care about GMs because they're here today, gone tomorrow. Okay, he could be fired in a few months. Probably not fired if he gets Cooper Flagg. They've been in the draft lottery 17 times, Andrew. Their pick has jumped 0 of those 17 times. No team, no franchise has done worse in the lottery than the Dallas Mavericks.
Wow.
And a lot of those, now recent times, those were like, end of the lottery picks. So it's not a big deal. They didn't jump up. But the majority of those were like top 6 picks, never once jumped up. And then I start thinking about those poor Mavs fans, Andrew. Haven't they been through enough? Couldn't you, if that happened, couldn't you celebrate it for at least a few minutes just for Mavs fans? Who cares about Nico Harrison?
No, couldn't, wouldn't, and couldn't. And can't.
It would be funny though, right?
You would think it was very funny. I would be miserable afterwards. If that's the result, I am in misery over here.
Okay. There's one more team of these teams in the lottery that has never seen their pick jump up.
Yeah.
Would you like, do you have a guess?
I don't know.
Is Utah Jazz.
Oh, it is.
Never happened. The only time they've had the number 1 pick was in the ABA.
Oh,
like I think it was like 1974 or something.
Yeah, that definitely doesn't count.
Yeah. And then I was also looking at like the teams that have just had like the worst luck. And it's obvious. I mean, you can think about it for 2 seconds. You could probably come up with a name, Andrew. Just the worst luck.
The worst luck?
Yeah. Of one of the lottery teams, current lottery team.
Oh, I don't know.
The Sacramento Kings. They've been in 28 draft lotteries. Their pick has fallen in 10 of those.
What is their current situation? Because it's going to Atlanta, but is there a situation where they could keep it? It's 1 through 12. It's top 12 protected.
Yeah.
So they need something. They need something absolutely insane to happen.
It's funny too because their pick has jumped up in recent years. Like it jumped up in the Keegan Murray draft.
Yeah,
they were like 8th, and they jumped up to 4 or 3, and then but the funniest one was when they had traded that pick swap.
Yeah,
in the trade that Vlade made to create cap space so that they could sign Rajon Rondo.
Wow.
That ended up being their big thing. They traded a pick swap to the Sixers that ended up conveying in 2019, which the Sixers then traded to Boston to get Markelle Fultz, and that Kings pick ends up being Jason Tatum. Now, they did get De'Aaron Fox at the 5, so it wasn't like a total loss.
Yeah.
But even when they've moved up, there's been it hasn't been great.
Yeah. Dave DeFore says Chicago Pope. It's time for some divine.
Oh, interesting. So he thinks that was like an omen.
It was for the Bulls. It was for the Bulls. That would be a fun outcome if he went to Chicago. Chicago needs a blue chipper.
I'm generally in the idea I like the idea of Cooper Flagg going to a big market team. And I say that as someone who's, roots for a small market, but it feels like every single year the top name has been going to a small market. I mean, how long has it been since a big name, like a big prospect, has gone to a big market? Was it Derrick Rose?
I mean, you don't. Excuse me. Detroit's not a really big market.
No, that I mean, that would probably be the closest, just
I
in
mean,
terms of like
Markel
a
Fultz
historical franchise.
to Philly, but they traded for the pick. But that was Boston. I mean, 17 would have been it, right?
I'm thinking more like the biggest prospects, so like Zion, like
Oh,
AD.
oh, yeah.
Maybe
I mean,
maybe it was Blake Griffin, but it was just that it was the Clippers, so it didn't feel like he was going to a big market.
what's
But
the last time a big market that we care about?
Blake going to LA, I mean, I get that was pretty big.
Yeah, Derrick Rose to Chicago in 2008 was probably the last time, because you think about it, like John Wall went to the Wizards, which is obviously a big market, but it's like, like we all know about the Wizards. Cleveland, New Orleans, Cleveland, Minnesota, Philly got Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons felt like a big deal, right?
Yeah, he was a big prospect. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
B-ball boys in the chat said that one. Yeah, that is interesting. If you are a conspiracy theorist, like New Orleans and Minnesota winning it so many times, and
really
Cleveland
hurts.
winning it so times, it kind of
hurts the conspiracy.
Kills that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they're not funneling these guys to the giant markets. So yeah, I mean, it is interesting, because like the biggest markets that would have a chance to get it today, like Philly again, has had some luck. They've had, believe it or not, the Philadelphia 76ers have had some luck.
Andrew, when I was going through this, now they're not the luckiest team, because the luckiest team is the Spurs, whose pick has jumped in 5 of the 8 lotteries they've been involved in. But number 2 was Philly. Now it was all in like the late 90s or late 80s and 90s, like going through Iverson.
Yeah.
But their pick jumped in 7 of the 18 lotteries.
Wow.
That they've been involved in, which is way better than any of these other teams other than the Spurs.
Who are your teams that you just absolutely would not celebrate, winning this whole thing?
Spurs number 1.
Spurs number 1. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it ends up being a great story. They become infinitely. I mean, they were already watchable with Wemby, but pairing them together, it's a great on-court basketball story. It is. I would hate it.
Yeah. That would be that would be misery for sure.
I mean, personal bias. I would not be thrilled if Houston got Cooper Flagg again. Like, really good on-court story, because I think he's instantly becomes their best prospect.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. It's not the cleanest fit, clearly,
but they have so much flexibility.
They have flexibility to make deals to make it fit. I mean, absolutely, they do. Yeah.
But honestly, I other than those, and mostly that's just because they're West teams, I don't have a lot of hate in my heart tonight.
Wow. That's good.
Maybe New Orleans. Actually, I'm just going to start naming off every single team. New Orleans, they got AD and Zion, which are the 2 names when people talk about like, oh, Cooper Flagg's the best prospect since, they will say Zion and AD.
I would be,
if New Orleans goes 3 for 3.
Yeah, you cannot. New Orleans can't be the team that gets this. That would also be misery.
Okay, I'm putting them second now.
How about Keon Ellis being the representative for the Kings? How do we feel about that?
I mean, you should feel great. You love Keon Ellis.
I'm a Keon. Yeah,
I love Keon Ellis.
Keon Ellis. It's just a funny pick for me. It's just a funny pick for me.
I know, like when your teams.
What about Tumani? Tumani's that's some good juju, I think.
Yeah, Tumani's really cool. I always like, when our team was involved in these nights, and you trick yourself into thinking that it matters who they pick. I remember being like super psyched when they picked Nick Collison.
Nick Collison, absolutely. Yeah.
Like former beloved player, I feel like is that sweet spot of just like everything you want.
Yeah.
Last thing you want, executive. I don't want to see.
What about the owner's wife?
You're like, when did that happen?
I think it's happening tonight, right?
Oh, is it really?
Isn't there? I believe that's correct. Hold on, let me fill up all the reps.
Current players, fine. I'll often feel bad for them though when their team inevitably doesn't jump up.
Yeah.
I feel like past good player like Elijah.
Yeah.
That's great. I like that.
I like Jordy Fernandez being there. I also like Jared McCain being there. I love Jared McCain being there. I really, really like that.
Do you have any predictions?
Oh, Utah Jazz. Ashley Smith.
Ashley Smith.
Okay. She's a co-owner, but like I don't know. There's weird energy around some of these picks. Zion is weird energy. Like that is like player that's in trade rumors that you that is like there's so many not only trade rumors, but there's rumors about like
a trade mandate.
Ownership like not loving him being on the roster. Like that's a really weird move to have Zion there.
That's kind of a 40 chess move. If any of those rumors are true,
yeah,
I mean, it's a good move to make.
If he gets it, like it could be his way out of New Orleans.
Oh, Bub,
you like Bub? Yeah. Dave says Zion looks lean. We're already on muscle watch for Zion. It's May 12th. We're on muscle watch for Zion. Wow.
Okay, Andrew. Final predictions. Who's going to get the number 1 pick?
I think it's going to the Wizards. Let's go Wizards.
I'm going to pick the Toronto Raptors.
Wow,
because they're the team that I've heard people talk about the least in reference to the draft.
It's easily the weirdest fit. Okay, here we go. We got the lottery going. I think I might be ahead of you.
Well,
San Antonio gets the 14th. So
okay, you are ahead of me. So please announce it.
You want me to announce it to you?
Yes, announce it.
Okay, yes. So we're chalk so far. San Antonio at 14. 13 is going to the Atlanta Hawks. So we're staying chalk.
Staying chalk.
Nothing.
Hey, great trade. Kevin Huerter trade coming through.
Coming through. Pick. Yeah, it's actually not bad. Chicago did not jump up. Chicago is in the 12th pick. Modest Buzelis with no expression whatsoever.
All right, so Nico's
the
next.
Blazers.
Oh, that means the Mavericks jumped.
The Mavericks jumped. Oh my gosh. The Mavericks have jumped up into the top 4. This is misery. You've got to be kidding me. This cannot be the case. Houston Rockets get the 10th. So they have
Spurs. Spurs should be next.
We should be seeing San Antonio next unless they've jumped. The Toronto Raptors are 8. We have 2 teams that have jumped up.
The Spurs. Wait, that means that
yes,
the Thunder could get the 7th pick if it's right now.
Unless that could happen unless the Sixers have jumped up. So we got to see who it is.
Who is
He's about to read it. Brooklyn Nets are next.
Oh wait,
they're 8, and now 7 is where we're about to see. 7 is the New Orleans Pelicans.
Oh, the Sixers jumped up.
Sixers jumped up.
Wow. Well, congrats to them.
Yeah. Sending Zion, that got you that kind of energy. That was a big mistake. Wow. Sixers have jumped into the top 4. So and then, oh my gosh, the Wizards are 6th.
Oh,
that's as far as I could fall.
That is brutal.
Yeah. So Philly has jumped. Oh my, this is insane.
So Philly, Spurs, and the Mavs.
Philly, Spurs, Mavs. Oh, the Utah Jazz have pick 5. That is the worst they can do. That is the worst possible outcome.
Oh no!
For the Utah Jazz.
Holy so Charlotte is the remaining. They're the only truly bad team that held on.
Yeah, Charlotte stayed in the top 4.
Wow.
So now we have a top 4 that consists of Charlotte. This is chaos. This is pure chaos, Al. Charlotte, Philly, San Antonio, and Dallas are the 4 teams. We discussed this. This is easily the most chaotic top 4.
Well,
like this is pandemonium.
Going back to the stat I said at the beginning, so that is now 4 of 7 lotteries where 2 teams with top 6 odds or worse have jumped into the top 4. It happens so much now.
I cannot believe this. Okay. All right, what are your predictions now? Like this is part of it is this is like part of the thing, is that you want to make it to the commercial break.
Yeah.
And like
oh my God. At this point, now that I've seen the teams, I want Philly to win.
The teams that tanked got hosed by this.
Yeah, it was bad.
This is really bad.
Utah falling to 5. That is like catastrophic.
That is literally the worst you can do. That is the worst possible outcome for them. I cannot believe that. I cannot believe that. So
that is so, especially because, I mean, it depends how you feel. I wanted to talk to you about this, but Sam Vecini just dropped a mock draft.
Yeah.
And now it was a mock draft, so he did a spin, but he had Trey Johnson going 3, which prior to me seeing that mock, it was kind of, it's going to be Flagg, it's going to be Dylan Harper, it's going to be Edgecombe.
Yeah.
So I don't know like how fans should feel in terms of like what's the cutoff to where, at least we're going to get.
My opinion is the cutoff is 2. Because like I'm not confident, and one of these guys will end up being good, whether it's Trey Johnson, VJ Edgecombe, Con Knipple, Jeremiah Fears. Like one of those guys is going to be like a really, really good player. However, you want Dylan Harper or Cooper Flagg. Like if you really want to change your franchise, those are the guys that you want. The rest is like it's beauty in the eye of the beholder for the rest of these guys. I think it gets pretty flat after that, and so now it's like who's going to do like their homework. So, team that you least want to have the number 1 pick, Al?
The Spurs.
San Antonio, for sure. Team that you most want to have it?
Well, I said the Sixers. Sixers are my like real pick.
Yeah.
Dallas will be
I'm going to lose
funny.
it. It's Dallas. I'm going to absolutely lose it. So for that Philly pick, now it becomes a top 4 protected pick next year for the Thunder. Yeah. So that did not convey to OKC, but that pick is not dead. It becomes a top 4 protected pick for OKC.
And man, how this could swing Philly, like getting McCain back. I assume, like, even leaving Embiid out of the picture just for a second, like, I assume PG is going to come back. We know he was dealing with a bunch of like minor things throughout the season. You get him back with Maxey, McCain.
Yep.
If you could add someone like Flagg to that,
oh my gosh. Dude, I'm nervous. There's nothing at stake here for me personally, but I am like.
Did you see the clip of Daryl Morey just kind of like collapsing his head onto the table? See, if I were him, I would have just wanted to go to the thing beforehand. I wouldn't want to have to be on TV.
Oh, I love I love that he wants to be part of the spectacle.
Yeah,
that's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful.
Okay, I got it on my computer. I am now live with you, Andrew. So I'll get to.
Okay, good. Yeah, we have 2 West teams, 2 East teams. I like that. I like that there's a lot of chaos. Because I mean, that's been my thing the whole time. Is like I really want the number 1 pick in the East. Yeah. Ideally, we have both of the top 2 picks in the East, and then Mavs Spurs are 3-4.
Yeah.
But man, Dave says no Charlotte. I like of like the fits. I kind of like Charlotte as a fit for Coop. I don't love it as like franchise wise. Like, I think they were voted the worst franchise in the player poll. So like that's not ideal, but
it was first season under new owner.
True.
Give them some time,
a chance. Hey, and if they win, then God, Philly just does not deserve this. Philly does not deserve this.
Why do you say that?
I just don't think they do, but I don't know. We're about to find out what's happening. Oh my gosh.
3 of these are crazy.
I'm telling you,
those results are insane.
This is about the most chaotic thing that could happen.
Why didn't they send Nico? Wouldn't you love to see Nico Harrison up there right now?
Oh, yes. That would be amazing. Okay, we're going for the 4th pick. The 4th pick is going to
Mark Tatum.
The Hornets.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. This is the 3rd pick is going to this is so the Sixers got the 3rd pick. Oh my gosh, the Mavericks are in the top 2. Oh my gosh, the Mavericks are in the top 2.
It's gonna be.
Oh my gosh, the Mavericks won the lottery, Al. The Dallas Mavericks. This is the worst possible outcome. This is the worst outcome for the NBA. I hate this. I hate this. Yes, it is. Look at Coop barely clapping. This is chaotic. This is the most chaotic
this
thing.
is perfect.
You No, this is not perfect.
This
guy.
is what the NBA deserves.
No,
this is incredible. This is
Wow.
amazing, Andrew.
The script. This is. I cannot.
This is one of like the greatest results of a draft lottery I've ever seen.
No,
this is incredible, Andrew.
This is the worst. This is the very worst.
First, before you get all negative,
I can't
genuinely say
I cannot believe it. I cannot believe. Okay, go ahead. I'm like,
no fan base has gone through as much hardship in as short a period of time as the Dallas Mavericks fan base this year. From February till May, they were beaten down every single week, made to look like fools by Nico Harrison and their owners. So I am thrilled for them because it really looked like they had 0 outs. And this is the biggest out you could possibly have imagined. Even in the best case scenario of like, oh, Nico figures something out this summer.
Dude,
you couldn't come close to this scenario.
They had a 1.8% chance to win this.
Yeah, the last time, I think it was the Bulls, right? The Bulls had like a 1 point something chance.
Or when they got Derrick Rose. Yes.
Yeah, when they got Derrick Rose.
Yes. Wow.
I don't know. This is so, and also the other reason I like this is because like half of NBA fans just believe in any conspiracy theory about this league. And the Luka trade is perhaps like the biggest conspiracy theory event in recent NBA history. And to have this as the bookend of that trade is incredible.
I believe in you know what? I'm not a conspiracy theory guy. Now I'm all the way in. Moon.
I mean, that was the thing we always said about the Luka trade, like week after week, like how is there more to this? How do we keep learning a new, worse detail that makes this trade just even more bizarre than it was that night in February? And this is a cherry on top, but like a giant cherry.
Dude,
the biggest cherry I've ever seen. This is amazing.
We didn't go to the moon. Didn't even go to the moon. I believe in that now. I believe that the league handed this to the Dallas Mavericks to basically keep them in Dallas. I think they want the team to stay in the market. So this is it. Way to go.
It's amazing. Okay, so the Spurs. If the Spurs had known they were going to get Dylan Harper, do you trade for De'Aaron Fox?
That's a great question. I don't think so. Hey, if you know that this trading Luka leads to this, do you do it?
Okay.
To this timeline?
Okay. Do I have to take the trade in this scenario that they took? Or is it just like, do you just...
Yes.
I just have to trade
Well,
Luka.
it's all baked into the cake, my man.
Okay. I mean, your instinct is to say no. No. You should always keep Luka under any circumstance. However, if it really was that bad behind the scenes in Dallas, and you just kind of know that stuff is never going to work itself out, like all the infighting that was going on, and that truly the only way to end that was for one of these groups to assume all power, then in that scenario, yeah, I think you would do it. But from an outsider's perspective, where I don't have to deal with any of the day-to-day, it's like, no, I would still want Luka.
This is horrible, Al.
Oh my gosh, dude. Nico Harrison's going to have the biggest grin on his face when he comes in for whatever media he gets to do.
Listen, on a positive note, we do get to have another famous Nico Harrison press conference.
That's true. Hey, and the Sixers, now we don't know what'll happen. I could totally see the Spurs taking VJ Edgecombe. But if you got VJ Edgecombe in Philly and your 3-guard rotation is Maxey, McCain, and then you have Edgecombe as like this incredible defender to pair with either of those guys at any time, that's kind of juicy. I like that.
Yeah. So
they're not taking Trey Johnson third.
This is so chaotic. So the Mavericks jumped 10 spots to the number 1 pick. The Spurs jumped 6 spots to the number 2 pick. The Sixers jumped 2 spots to the 3rd pick. The Hornets fell 1 spot. The Jazz fell 4 spots. The Wizards fell 4 spots. The Pelicans fell 3. Brooklyn, who's just kind of a hard team to talk about, to be honest, because there's not much of a basketball team going on there, fell to 8, which is really disastrous. The Raptors, who kind of tanked and kind of didn't tank, fell to 9th, which is what, like, you know what? Book that for any team that kind of tanks and kind of doesn't, is that you get the 9th pick. It just feels like destiny. It feels like that's what the Jazz did for years, is just get the 9th pick.
Yeah, but then if you commit, you get the 5th pick.
Then if you commit, you bump up a few spots. It's okay. I probably like Ace Bailey best for the Sixers picking, because I do think it'll go Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper to the Spurs. And then I don't mind Ace Bailey to the Sixers. He's a big shooter that is probably not ready to handle the basketball at this point, but he doesn't have to with that team.
Yeah.
He's a 6'10" wing.
But for a team who at least believes their window is now, like they literally just signed Paul George. Like, is that really the pick that they would make?
You trade it then. There's not anybody that's going to help them right this second.
You don't think Edgecombe could help?
No. Edgecombe can't make a layup, man. I don't think so.
But he seems like the guy who like wouldn't have to do that much.
They already have too many guards. I think that I don't know. I don't know. I like Edgecombe. I like Edgecombe at 3 for most teams. I don't like it for Philly.
Vicini had Con Knipple. Now this was when Philly was going to be in the 6th spot.
Yeah. I mean, Con is that's the kind of player that you want. He can really shoot it. He's super competitive. He's a better defender than what you think he is. I like him. I don't know that I like him at 3. Honestly, like, this becomes if you really believe in this era of the Sixers, which I would very much caution them against, then you trade this pick. And you know who just became available?
Oh,
Giannis.
Well, he didn't become available.
I mean,
unless something happened literally right now.
I mean, he's available.
Says who? Andrew Schlecht?
No. I mean, it's been in the news all day.
I know, but it was that one report from Shams just said like he might be open to finally thinking about maybe going to play somewhere else. There was like nothing.
Dude, you know what that? I mean, if it's Shams tweeting it, it's not nothing. It's not nothing. I'm just saying, like, of all these teams, well, what if the Mavericks traded for Giannis?
Okay. So that is actually the ultimate Nico Harris. That would be the perfect bookend to the Luka trade.
Okay.
If Nico Harrison traded the number 1 pick for Giannis. I don't know if they can do it though. They would have to trade so many. They'd have to trade all of their depth.
Yeah. And you think that
no, there's no way they do that.
They would shy away from that?
No, well, no, not that part, but there's no way. Come on. This is a gift Nico Harrison has been given. This is an opportunity at a second life. He cannot.
It is hard to get to 54 million, but it's not impossible. It's actually not impossible.
Wow.
So the number 1 pick. Yep. Success. Okay. So Klay Thompson, Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington, Caleb Martin, and the number 1 pick for Giannis. Works.
3 of their rotation players plus Caleb Martin.
For Giannis.
Plus Cooper Flagg. Yeah, you can't do that. You can't.
You know what? This is his 4D chess. He's like, you know what?
You can't, but
I'm going to end up with, some people said I should have traded Luka for Giannis, but I'm going to end up with Anthony Davis and Giannis. 4D chess.
That would be quite the flex, but also I think a bad idea.
Would you do that if you're Milwaukee?
Get Cooper Flagg?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is not insane.
Yeah. I mean, I'm working under the assumption that like Giannis has said that he wants to go, although even if he didn't and you were just offered Cooper Flagg, you'd want to know what the other offers were. But, everyone's talking about Houston or OKC because of all their picks. Like none of these teams could offer Cooper Flagg. Like Cooper Flagg would be the best asset in any of these trades.
Yeah.
There's no way though. There's no way.
That it is slightly intriguing though. Is it not?
I would say that of all the teams that could have gotten number 1, Dallas allows for these conversations.
Absolutely,
You
it
know,
does.
because if Utah gets, Utah, Washington, like
Utah's not doing it.
twice.
Hornets aren't doing it.
Um, I'm kind of fascinated at number 2 though with the Spurs.
Just let me say one more thing
Yeah.
because
One more thing.
listen, Nico talked about how his window is 3 years, basically.
It is
Cooper Flagg's not winning you a title in 3 years.
probably not.
Giannis, with the right supporting cast, would.
Hey,
I'm
and you know what
just
wins? You know what wins championships?
defense.
Defense.
You know who plays
Former
defense?
defensive player of the year, defensive player of the year.
I'm just telling you, man. I'm just saying, like, start the rumors now. Start them up.
Yeah, I feel bad for any Mavs fans watching us. Way to just ruin their night immediately. The greatest thing ever has happened to them. Man, I really wish I had stuck with Dallas. Because what?
How does that ruin it? What do you mean I'm ruining it?
I don't think Dallas fans. Do you think Mavs fans would be excited about trading for Giannis, trading away 3 rotation players plus Cooper Flagg to build around AD and Kyrie, whose ACL is torn?
It's fun.
For us.
It's a fun timeline.
So that's the first time Dallas's pick has ever jumped up in the lottery. They're now 1 for 18. Good for them. The remaining team, the only team now who has never jumped up in the lottery is the Utah Jazz.
Oh, shout out Utah.
Their own pick.
Wow. God, that's a gut punch. It's a big
oh my gosh. The Spurs have now jumped up in 6 of their 9 draft lotteries.
Dude. Again, I believe in conspiracies now. All of them.
That is pretty wild.
Name a conspiracy, I believe in it. I mean, it's Mavericks, Spurs, Sixers are the top 3.
What's the Spurs conspiracy theory? I mean, I know right now it's Wemby, but like historically, why would the league be funneling players to San Antonio?
I love the Alamo, I guess. Remember the Alamo.
Okay, that is not a strong argument if you're leading with the Alamo.
It was tragic. It was tragic what happened at the Alamo. They're trying to repay those hardy Texans for
6 for 9. That is incredible luck.
Yeah, that is absolutely.
I mean, that gets you up there with like luckiest franchises of all time. 6 for 9.
B-Ball Boy says God loves the Spurs. I mean, that may be true.
It's a God thing.
Wow.
Okay, yeah, I'm super interested in the Spurs with Dylan Harper.
Yeah.
That would be their 3-guard rotation. De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, and
it's
Harper. But all those guys feel like they're, if not now, like 35 plus minute per game players in the NBA. Absolutely.
And it's not a great fit with the 3 of them, to be honest. Like there's a lot of work to do, I think, if that's the guy they end up going with.
I'll be interested to see how much they play all 3 together. That would be fun.
You got to probably bringing Harper off the bench, I would guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is pure chaos.
This is a really fun draft because a lot of people have been saying, after, depending on where you make the cutoff, whether it's 2 or 3 or 4, it's an eye of the beholder draft. And I feel like the way it shook out is just magnifying that. We could see guys who are, mocked at 10 going at 5.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't feel clean at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just scrolling down these names and I have no idea. I'm trying to figure out like what's my favorite realistic pick right now, like fit of a player in a team. Like, do you have anyone that just immediately jumps out?
I mean, honestly,
Ace Bailey in Charlotte, because I feel like everyone has been saying that Ace Bailey is like a classic Hornets player forever.
No, he kind of is. I kind of like Edgecombe there, to be honest, to Charlotte.
Yeah.
He's going to provide
LaMelo.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he if he can kind of flank LaMelo on the wing, I think that he's a guy that can be a primary defender at some point and like provide a lot of athleticism. I actually really like that one.
It's kind of like a Trae Young, Dyson Daniels type situation.
Yeah, that's not bad. I actually really like that. Edgecome's one of my favorite prospects. I'm interested to see like which one of these teams bites on Trey Johnson, because like he's a big scorer. I think that he has a chance to be the second best player in this draft if everything works out. I'm really curious to see like does Utah Utah is still in search of their best young prospect, for their roster, and it is such a bummer for them to fall to 5 because now it's like, does VJ fall? Do you take Trey? Some teams like Jeremiah Fears more than they like Trey Johnson. Are they one of those teams? I I don't know. Conka Nipple is not necessarily like a number one guy. I don't know. Like this is tough because I think of the guys like at the top that are like guaranteed like better than like your 4th or 5th starter, I would say it maybe stops at Edgecombe. I'm not positive Trey Johnson can be that guy. I'm not positive Khan can be that guy. Like that's where it gets dicey for these teams because they spent, the Jazz and the Wizards and the Nets and like they all have spent so much time like and invested in this draft, and to fall is really tough. And you've got it like this is where like they've got to go to work. And I definitely trust the Wizards' new front office to go like put in that work and to find one of these guys, but it's going to be tough to find a franchise changer at that spot. I really think there's just a couple franchise changers, and there will be another one that will pop. But like, who is it? Is it Kasparis? Is it Derek Queen? I don't think so. Is it Jeremiah Fears? Is it Trey Johnson? Like, I feel like one of those guys is like really going to pop, but like, which one is it? I think is a question. So it's tricky. Like, this is really, really tricky. And I cannot believe that Cooper Flagg is just a few miles down I-35 from OKC, man. I cannot believe that. That is a mind-blowing outcome.
That is really crazy. I'm looking now, because Malawach from Duke.
Yeah.
He was kind of projected in that like mid lottery, but now that I'm looking at how it shook out, I don't think the Pelicans are taking him. They just drafted Misi. Nets probably aren't taking him.
Probably not.
Toronto.
Toronto is I think probably his floor would be my guess.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. I'm really interested to see where Derek Queen goes.
Mm-hmm. He's an interesting prospect. He could fall though. Like he's one that I think could fall a little bit just because he doesn't have breaks, I worry about that with him as a defender. As a big man, like he can do a ton of stuff with the ball and like he can create like very, very few players can. But defensively, like we're just seeing how important that is in the playoffs. Like for a big man to like have just full control over his body as a defender. And I just don't know that he's that kind of guy, which worries me a lot.
One of our commenters points out, and this actually affects not just the Thunder, but also the Rockets. The future Dallas picks that were outstanding. 28 Dallas, which I believe the Rockets own unprotected.
Yeah.
And then OKC has the 28 Dallas swap.
Yeah.
Unprotected. And then Rockets have 29 Dallas unprotected.
Yeah.
Which they got from Brooklyn in that trade where they swapped the picks to get Phoenix's picks too.
Mm-hmm.
Value of those takes a little bit of a hit when you land a guy who a lot of people think is generational.
When it's supposed to be the 11th pick and you land the number 1 pick in a draft that has a very good player at the top. Yeah. Wonder if Jason Gallagher is going to be a Mavs fan again now that he's got Cooper Flagg, because he recently switched over to be a Thunder fan.
I know he's got to be hurting tonight.
He's got
to back twice.
He's got a decision to make. He's got a decision to make. Wow, man. Okay, Al. Anything else before we get out of here? That was 10 times more chaotic than I would have ever expected. I'm still just stunned.
I'm just glad that I talked about it before the lottery got started, because I was debating not bringing it up because it was just like, oh, this isn't likely. But I had been thinking about it all day, just how absurd it would be if Dallas won. And as the day went on, I just felt like more and more that it could happen, just the way that things had been going everywhere, and it has turned out to be correct. I mean, that is the craziest outcome we've ever had. If the Luka trade was the craziest NBA trade we've ever had, to follow that up with jumping to 1 from 11, that's the craziest lottery outcome I can remember.
Yeah, especially
I
with
mean,
all the K. Like it's got to be the number one, right?
because like, yeah, Derrick Rose going to Chicago, like that was obviously a shock, but there wasn't any like baggage coming into the night where you felt like this franchise was teetering on the brink, and they have now been pulled back from the brink in the most dramatic of ways. Incredible. Shout out to Mavs fans.
Shout out to Mavs fans. Listen,
Y'all have had a crazy year.
there's been a crazier year for any fan base ever.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine. Especially you go to the NBA Finals. You then trade your best player. You then stink because everybody gets hurt. Your second best player tears his ACL. Everything is awful. You get the 11th best lottery odds, which seems horrible. And then you draw the number one pick. That is the highest high and lowest lows for any franchise ever. I just don't. It's hard to comprehend what they've been through. It's so hard to comprehend it.
And everything that had to go wrong just for them to end up in the 11th spot.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, trading away Quentin Grimes too.
You go to the play-in. You have to lose in the play-in. Like if they won their play-in games and like make it to the playoffs, which would have felt like a victory.
Yeah.
Then like you don't get this.
Oh my God. Now I'm remembering those play-in games.
Dude, I'm telling you. This is a wild experience for the Mavericks.
Wow.
Easily the most chaotic outcome.
Yeah, remember when they killed the Kings?
I know. They weren't close in the second game, but they were close.
No, they weren't.
It felt like they were close. They were knocking on the door of being in the playoffs, but instead now they have Cooper Flagg. Wow.
Flagg, Dallas Mav.
The only thing that feels right now is that they signed Nico to a contract extension tomorrow.
I think you got to do it.
I mean,
everything he touches is gold. Starting today.
Starting now, everything. Starting now, everything gold for Nico Harrison. Wow. Unbelievable. Well, thank you so much for tuning in on the live stream. Really appreciate you guys. Hey, if you'll please, everyone, we have a ton of people that are watching live right now. If you'll please like the video before you go, that would be a huge help. And then if you'll leave not a comment in the chat, but a comment on the actual video of how you feel about the trade, how you feel about the lottery. Like, what are your feelings? Type them in the comments. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. And please tune in tonight. We are going to have recaps from this Boston-New York game that's happening right now. And then we'll have the Minnesota-Golden State game will be recapped tonight. I believe we have our pal Anthony Slater joining us for the NBA Daily podcast. So be sure that you are subscribed to the show. And we will talk to you guys again next time.